Hello Years 4, 5 and 6. This week's topic is our planet Earth. We will be focusing on the oceans, rainforests and cities. You will be able to compare and contrast the different locations, and you will be able to consider how our actions influence our planet. This is your graphic schema for this week's topic, our planet Earth. This week you have 5 lessons with a strong focus on geography, art, designing, science and English. I would like to discuss how the graphic schema works. It is important when talking through the schema that you trace your finger around the schema. It is important when talking through the schema that you trace your finger around the schema. If you have a printer, you can print it off. If not, you can trace it off the screen. Start in the middle and talk your way through each thread as you go. After your learning this week, you will learn more about each thread on the graphic schema. So when you get to each icon, you can develop your understanding a little bit more and speak about each topic. At the end of each lesson, come back to the graphic schema and see what you can remember about each element. Use the pictures and the keywords to help you organise your thinking. At the end of the week, have a go at drawing your own graphic schema using this one as a model and record yourself talking through it. You will be amazed at how much information you will have learned. Monday, the 22nd of June 2020. During this task, we would like you to create a fact file book about the 5 oceans of our world. Look through these slides to learn new facts about the oceans and also have a go at researching your own facts about the 5 oceans. Oceans of the world. Here is your task for day 1. Can you create a fact file booklet about the 5 oceans? Year 4, we would like you to include a title, introduction paragraph and bullet point facts about the 5 oceans. Year 5, include a title, introduction paragraph and a balance of paragraph writing or bullet point facts about the 5 oceans. Also, add in some did you know facts. Year 6, include a title, introduction paragraph and a balance of paragraph writing or bullet point facts about the 5 oceans. Can you compare and contrast the oceans? To create the fact book, the first thing that I did was to get hold of some A4 paper and fold it in half so it looked like a booklet. I then read back through the slides, and for each page I created an own page for the ocean. So I had 5 pages, one for each ocean. I then read through and I made sure that each of my fact pages had a title, paragraph, subheading, and bullet points. You can also add pictures if you like. When I had completed all of those pages, I was able to go back to the very first one and make my contents page. At the end of my book, I wrote a glossary to explain the meanings. On the very back cover, I wrote the blurb. Remember, the blurb tells the reader a little bit of information and entices you to come in and read and enjoy the book. And then finally, I created my bright and colourful front cover. You can see at the top right-hand side, I created my own logo. It has a clear, bold heading, some information, a visual, and the author, which is me, at the bottom. When you have completed the fact book, go back to the graphic schema, use your finger, and trace what you have learned so far about the oceans. So we have learned that there is the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic, the Arctic, the Indian, and the Southern Oceans. Now you can add to your graphic schema and add in the information that you have learnt. Make it specific to your learning. Tuesday, the 23rd of June 2020. Today, we would like you to create a diary to show how much plastic you use over 7 days. That is part A of your task. Part B will be also to have a look through the following slides, take in all the information about plastic pollution, and create a clear visual infographic about plastic pollution. Plastic pollution. Day 2, Part A. Can you keep a plastic diary for the week? How many different types of plastic do you use within 7 days? Is there anything that you could change? Do you notice any patterns? You will see on the right-hand side, I've put a visual of my plastic usage over the 7 days. So looking at this, it makes me realise that every day when I have a yoghurt for my breakfast, I'm using so many yoghurt pots that I decided that I would buy a large yoghurt pot and spoon it into a dish every day. So I'm already starting to make a difference. Here is the diary sheet. You can either print it or you can copy it like I did and create your own version. Remember, I said that today, for Part B, we are going to create an infographic poster. But to be able to make an infographic poster, we need to know what an infographic poster actually is. Have a look at these top tips here for some ideas. On the next few pages, you will see some examples of infographics about plastic pollution. What do you notice? And over to you. Task Day 2, Part B. Can you create an infographic poster to raise awareness of ocean plastic pollution and support the work of the National Marine Aquarium and the Ocean Conservation Trust? So Year 4, I'd like you to include a catchy headline. What is the purpose of your infographic? Why are you doing it? Why are you bothering? What do you want people to know? Focus on 4 main points about plastic pollution. Limit the colours to 4 colours. Remember, the less amount of colours, the more impact it has. Make sure you leave white space around your infographic and design your own logo for the infographic. Year 5, include a catchy headline. Focus on 5 facts about plastic pollution and cite where you researched the facts from. So tell me where you found the facts. Limit the colours to 4 colours again. Use 2 different styles of writing. Make sure you leave white space around your infographic and design your own logo for the infographic. Year 6, include a catchy headline. Focus on 6 facts about plastic pollution and cite where you researched the facts from. Limit the colours again to 4 colours. Use 2 different styles of writing. Make sure you leave white space around your infographic. Ensure that your infographic flows and is not disjointed. Remember, it flows like a story. And design your own logo for the infographic. And here is my version of the infographic. So to draw the circles, I actually drew around a cup. I used a ruler for the straight lines and I limited myself to 4 colours. You can see the title is bold and it's written in capital letters, so it draws your attention with an exclamation mark, and it's also coloured in red. I've purposely chosen the colour red because red signifies attention, warning, danger, and I want people to take note of my message, of my infographic. So impact, this is the impact that plastic has on our oceans. So in the first circle on the left, it says 1/4 of fish contain plastic. The second circle is a whale that is entangled in a net on rubbish. Then we go down to a plastic water bottle and it says 450 years to biodegrade, so to break that down. And then the final circle says plastic equals 80% of marine debris. On the bottom right hand side, you can see that I have created my own logo, ECV20. It's got a plastic cup with a cross, a fish and a tick. And back to your graphic schema. Start from the middle, trace with your finger up towards oceans. You should now be able to talk a little bit more about plastic pollution, about marine life, the type of animals that we find in the seas and the oceans, and the locations where the Pacific Ocean is, the Atlantic, the Arctic, the Indian and the Southern Ocean. Remember, please add your own information and icons, the little pictures, onto your graphic schema as you go along. Wednesday, the 24th of June 2020, Day 3. During this task, we would like you to learn about the rainforests and particularly the rainforest animals. And during this task, we would like you to draw a rainforest animal and then use the stippling effect to illustrate it. You can use felt tips, pencil crayons, or paint and a very small paintbrush if you're feeling brave. Rainforests. In today's lesson, we will be drawing animals that can be found in the rainforests, and we will be using the technique of stippling to add colour, tone and effect. Remind yourself of the stippling effect here. Have a look at some of these animals that can be found in the rainforests. Which animal will you draw and use stippling to illustrate? You can research your own rainforest animals if you need some more inspiration. Task Day 3. Can you research animals that can be found in a rainforest and draw them, completing the colour, tone and effects by using the stippling technique? Year 4. Choose an animal from the Amazon rainforest. Carefully draw it using a pencil for the outline. Be confident. Look at where you want to draw as you draw. Think about how we use stippling in our lessons to create effect. Use coloured pencils, felt pens or paint and a fine paintbrush to create your stippling effect. Tip: the closer the stippling, the deeper the tone. Year 5 and Year 6. Choose an animal from the Amazon rainforest. Carefully draw it using a pencil for the outline. Be confident. Look at where you want to draw as you draw. Next, draw some canopies of trees that you would find in a rainforest. Use coloured pencils, felt tips or paint and a fine paintbrush to create your stippling effect for the animals and the trees. Top tip: the closer the stippling, the deeper the tone. Step 1. Draw the animal of your choice in pencil. Make sure that you look where you want to draw as you are drawing. Be confident with your lines. Step 2. Go over your drawing with a deeper colour. So I used a black felt pen for this. Step 3. I chose 3 colours that I wanted to focus on: orange, black and grey. Step 4. I began to do my stippling with orange, so I began using small dots very close together. Step 5. I completed my drawing looking carefully at the picture that I was copying, and I used black, grey and orange stippling to create this effect. The closer that I put the dots together, the deeper, the bolder the colour looked. Go back to your graphic schema and this time trace down towards the rainforests. You should now be able to talk a little bit more about the animals in the rainforests and the locations and perhaps the climate of the rainforest. Feel free to add more information to your graphic schema, more detail. What kind of animals have you found out about? Tell us, let us know. Thursday, the 25th of June 2020, Day 4. During this task, we would like you to read a Bug Club book about rainforests, as detailed in the following slides, and then we would like you to learn some new information and research about the layers of the rainforest, and then we would like you to design and create a diagram, a labelled diagram, explaining the layers of the rainforest and the animals that can be found there. Rainforests. On the next few pages, you will find extracts from the book Rainforests at Risk by Alison Hawes. This book has been allocated to you on your Bug Club books. It should be in your stuff. We would like you to read the book and complete the quizzes that will help you with your information about rainforests and will help you to complete the following tasks. Your task for day 4. Can you create a diagram to explain the 4 layers of a rainforest? So Year 4, create a diagram to show the 4 layers of a rainforest. Use arrows to label each part with key facts. Add drawings of the animals that you would find in each layer. Year 5, create a diagram to show the 4 layers of a rainforest. Use arrows to label each part with key facts. Write the key facts in clear text boxes with a heading for each. Add drawings of the animals that you would find in each layer and label. Year 6. Create a diagram to show the 4 layers of a rainforest. Use arrows to label each part with key facts. Write the key facts in clear text boxes with a heading for each. Add drawings of the animals that you would find in each layer and label. Alongside the diagram, please create a glossary to explain the subject-specific vocabulary. I will now talk you through how I created my diagram. Step 1. I read through the Bug Club book and I made notes. I read through the slides so I had a very good understanding about the different layers of the rainforest. I then, in pencil, lightly drew some visuals, some arrows, and started to put my text boxes on. Step 2. I then added more to my illustrations and I double-checked my research to see which animals lived at each layer, and I added pictures of the animals and I also labelled them so that it was clear. Moving on, I double-checked what I had written, made sure that it made factual sense. I added a little bit more detail and I went over my original drawing with a darker shade. So in this case, I went over it with a black felt tip so that the information really stood out for me. And finally, I looked back through the book and the slides to make sure that the colours that I was about to use were the correct factual colours for the animals and the rainforest, and therefore I matched them up. Use your finger to start from the middle, our planet Earth, and trace down towards the rainforests. You should now be able to talk about the locations, the climate, the animals, and the layers of the rainforest floor, the under canopy layer, the canopy layer, and the emergent layer. Please add your visuals and information onto the graphic schema so that at the end of our learning this week, you will be able to recall the facts and your learning smoothly, and you'll be able to impress everybody with how much new knowledge you know. Friday, the 26th of June 2020, Day 5. During this task, we would like you to read the research and plan and begin to design an eco-city. So a city that is all about renewable resources, that's all about protecting the environment. Cities. This is a picture of Tokyo in Japan. Tokyo has a population of around 13.5 million people. On the map, you can see the size of London, which is red, compared to the size of Tokyo. Read the information below to find the answers to these questions. Why do you think people first settled and built Tokyo? So, if you have access to the internet, you can explore Google Earth or World Maps to see if you can work out why it makes an ideal location for a settlement. You can look for evidence such as access to rivers, topography of the land, ancient buildings, etc. Question 2. Why do you think so many people live in this mega city? And mega cities are officially cities over the size of 10 million people living there. Now that you've learned about Tokyo, let's have a look at the following slide for some inspiration for your city plans. The next cities that you're going to be looking at are all trying to be more resourceful and promote a better, healthier planet through renewable, resourceful living. Let's see what you think. Today we are going to plan and design our own sustainable city. So the first thing that we need to do is to plan the city. Here are some prompts to help you. Your sustainable city must include plans to provide energy, provide inhabitants, so the people who live there, with food, handle waste efficiently, transport people and produce around the city, whilst ensuring that nature is welcomed and supported in your city. On the next slide, there are some planning documents for you to use. You can either print them off the screen, or you can just write down the main headings on a piece of paper and write your ideas on a piece of paper. So the first one is energy. People expect higher standards of living and the latest devices gobble up energy. We still use a lot of fossil fuels like oil, coal and gas. In the past 200 years, we have used over 2/3 of the world's resources already, and we need to use more renewable energy. How are you going to power your city? Food. We all need to eat, but in a world with more and more people, where will it all come from? Transporting food from far away is expensive and pollutes the environment. We also waste a lot of food. In the UK alone, about 30% of all food gets thrown into the bin. How and where will you grow enough food for your inhabitants? How can you make sure you use as much of the food as possible without any waste? Nature. We need to remember that humans are not the only things living on the planet, and we need plants and animals to be able to survive. As you plan your city, remember to include green areas in your city and help wildlife move around your city on wildlife corridors. Wildlife corridors are areas of planting that help the green areas in your city link up for wildlife. It may be some plants on the edge of a road or even people's gardens. Flowering plants help encourage pollinators into your city. These will help your vegetables grow and increase your crop of food. It has also been proven that if people can see nature every day and not just buildings, they are happier and healthier. Try and think of how you might need different plants and animals. This will help to make sure you have it in your city. How will you make sure nature is encouraged into your city? Transport. The way your population moves around a city is crucial for city living. Movement in a place where so many people live and work is tricky, so this needs to be carefully designed. Cars, buses, trains and trams, boats on rivers, as well as walkways for pedestrians and lanes for cyclists. You need to make sure facilities are in place for the perfect balance of each. Some of the largest cities in the world have even moved their transport out of the way using underground trains and elevated monorail systems. Example, Las Vegas has motorways underneath its buildings. Try to think of new ways that you could help with the infrastructure in your city. In many cities around the world, the streets can become as famous as some of the buildings. How will you help your inhabitants move around? And finally, waste. Throughout the world, we dump over 2 billion tonnes of waste every year. A lot of this rubbish doesn't rot away, and finding somewhere to put all is a serious problem. We actually waste more energy by not recycling. For example, cans of drink are made from aluminium. 95% more energy is needed to make a new aluminium can compared to one made from recycling other cans. How will you encourage people from your city to recycle more and reduce their waste? On the following slides, you may find some inspiration as to what your eco-city will look like. Day 5. Can you create a plan and design for a new eco-city? Year 4. Use the prompts and the slides to help you to plan your eco-city. Think carefully about the people, what they need to live and survive in a city, and how your design will affect the environment. Then begin to draw your design. Use a ruler to help you to plot the distances and draw the straight lines. Year 5. Use the prompts to help you plan your eco-city. Think carefully about what people need to live and survive in a city and how your design will affect the environment. Then begin to draw your design. Use a ruler to help you to plot the distances and draw straight lines. If you can, record yourself explaining your eco-city design. Year 6. Use the prompts to help you plan your eco-city. Think carefully about what people need to live and survive in a city and how your design will affect the environment. Then begin to draw your design. Use a ruler to help you to plot the distances and draw straight lines. If you can, record yourself explaining your eco-city design. On the following slides, you may find some inspiration as to what your eco-city will look like. This is one way that you may show your new eco-city design by doing it as if you can see the buildings and you can see the infrastructure of your city as if you are in a building looking out of the window. Here is another way that you could design your city. This time, this illustrator has drawn it as a diagram and has clearly labelled each part of the efficient city. It's up to you. You choose how you want to interpret and share and show your eco-city. On your graphic schema, start at the middle, go out to the left towards the eco-cities. You should now be able to talk about the importance of where you plan the eco-city, so the connections to the other countries, the locations, the planning and the infrastructure. Why is it important to be near water? How are you going to be able to control the effects in the environment, such as air pollution and plastic pollution? What about the food? How would you source food? Buildings and amenities? What about transport? How will there be links from places to places? You should now be able to talk your way through a simple plan of an eco-city. Have a look at your graphic schema. It may still look like mine, or it might be full of lots of new information and knowledge that you have learned over this week. What we would like you to do now is to use your finger and trace back through and discuss every element of what you have learned this week. Perhaps you could video yourself and share it with us so we can share your learning. Perhaps you've recreated your own totally new Planet Earth graphic schema. Please share with us. Let us celebrate your learning with you.